Okay, folks. So, week 12 is done, and I'm only going to do the AAC schools that have a chance of getting into the championship game. Not the college football playoff, because unfortunately, I think that now the AAC is out of the race for the conference or for the college football playoff. I think that that's probably going to go to JMU. But Navy beat South Florida 41-38. North Texas, of course, smashed down on UAB. Tulane beat Florida Atlantic. Close game, though, 35-24. Okay, 11 points isn't that close, but it's still pretty close. East Carolina, throw your hands up, beat Memphis at home. East Carolina was at home, had Memphis come to them. Memphis is now 100% out of the conference championship race, but East Carolina's still in it. So we're going to cover these four schools. Navy taking out South Florida was just wild. South Florida doesn't when they get ranked don't seem to be able to win. I don't know what that is. I mean, honestly, that was a just shock to me. But Navy, yeah, if you saw that first half, I don't know if you saw that first half, but Navy just stomped a mud hole in them. And North Texas beating UAB, I mean, that was not that big of a surprise. Tulane barely beating Florida Atlantic was a bigger surprise than North Texas doing what they did to UAB. East Carolina, throw your hands up. Um, that one was wild. But then again, though, we also had two other games. UTSA, of course, handled Charlotte. I think that their backup quarterback, Great Loftus, is what he is. You know, I kind of feel bad for the guy having to come in there to a team that had been improving under Harrell. Now you've got, and Tulsa. Tulsa beat Oregon State 31-14. That one was just wild. But we're going to discuss North Texas, Navy, Tulane, East Carolina. Why? Because those are the four teams. And maybe I've got my favorites. I've got my two favorites, but the other two are still in the running, so we've got to discuss them, and I have no problems with that. So, before we get into this, hit like, hit subscribe if you like college football, if you like college sports, because I don't do recruiting, I don't do transfer portal, and there's not enough college football stuff to talk about year round. I've got things I can talk about, but I'm going to do women's gymnastics next. I've already started some of my women's gymnastics videos, so if you like a little bit of women's gymnastics, I'm already covering them. Now, also, if you don't mind, if you really like my stuff and wouldn't mind to help out a little bit, I've got a Patreon and my link tree down below. It would really help me out if somebody was to be nice and decide to, just get the lowest level membership. Now, let's get into this. Hey, folks, this is Paul with Redneck Sports. I want to thank you for viewing my video, and I want to give you one thought process. There was a famous coach at the University of Tennessee by the name of General Robert Neyland. He had 6 maxims, but number 2 maxim is what everybody should apply to their life. Play for and make the breaks. When one comes your way, score. That's how to live your life right there. Now, with Navy, this 41-38 win was great. They had to use both their quarterbacks, Blake Horvath and Braxton Woodson. Blake Horvath was cramping up a little bit, so, Braxton Woodson came in the second half. Horvath wasn't doing what he normally did, which probably threw off South Florida quite a bit. Blake Horvath was 8 of 15, 147 yards through the air. 146 of them was Eli Heidenreich, who, by the way, in this game, caught 5 passes for 146 yards, became Navy's all-time leader in receiving yards, 1,794. So Braxton Woodson came in. He rushed in for 2 touchdowns. Alex Teska rushed in for a touchdown. He also caught a 14-yard pass and ran it, or caught a pass, ran it in 14 yards for a touchdown. That was the only receiving touchdown, but Alex Teska rushed one in. Braxton Woodson rushed two in, and Brandon Chapman rushed one in. Not to mention, I don't know if you saw this game, but Brandon Chapman caught one. Holy cow. Did he did some amazing things in this game. Um this was a different look. South Florida was thinking that they were going to ground and pound like they normally do. One of the scoring drives, literally kickoff, Horvat threw it, was caught. The guy, they barely got the guy down, and then it was rushed in. I mean, this was exactly what was going on in this entire game. They didn't know what they were looking at. Now, fortunately, Kashai Abraham recovered a fumble. They did have a fumble and lost it, but now Mark Anthony Parker had 10 tackles. Coleman Callie had 11 tackles. Giuseppe Sessi had 8 tackles. We're talking in this game, they only had one sack on Byron Brown, had one tackle for loss, had 2 pass deflections. But Philip Hamilton did get an interception, 27-yarder. Isaiah Bryant returned a kick for 16 yards. Nathan Kirkwood got both his field goals. I mean, you're looking at this team and going, they weren't doing their normal thing because Blake Horvath was still recovering. He got injured in the North Texas game. Braxton Woodson did what he needed to do, but just wasn't able to get the two the North Texas game or the Notre Dame game. Which, I mean, Notre Dame, that is what it is, but Horvath came in, got them fired up, but Braxton Woodson put the icing on the cake. He really did. Him getting those 2 touchdowns, and then add on top of the fact Brandon Chapman and Alex Teska both got one. Then Alex Teska also got that receiving touchdown. I mean, 5 touchdowns, 2 field goals, and their defense. Oh my lord, their defense against South Florida was just outstanding. This team is looking to go into Memphis next week and go, yeah, no, we're going. This is what kind of this senior day they saw what they could do, and I can imagine what they're planning for Memphis. They've got a different look to them. You don't know what look they're going to have, which is going to drive Ryan Silverfield crazy. I can imagine. But Navy is a really good team, and they are showing it. Now, North Texas, Caleb Hawkins in this game against UAB set a record for their school. He rushed in for 5 touchdowns. That's a record. He had the tie for the record in the first half, and then he rushed one more in. Drew Mestamaker and Wyatt Young, hey, those two were doing great together. Wyatt Young caught 8 passes and had a touchdown. Cameron Dorner had a touchdown. Drew Mestamaker was just doing what he needed to do today. Now, North Texas, I mean, Drew Mestamaker, you can't. Caleb Hawkins, Drew Mestamaker, Wyatt Young, Cameron Dorner, they've got a team there. While Drew Mestamaker is getting most of the highlights, I mean, he was 18 of 25, 298 yards through the air, threw 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Caleb Hawkins had 189 yards on 27 carries, 5 touchdowns, long at 51. He was their rushing. I mean, yeah, they had other guys, but he was their rushing. Catches, Wyatt Young, 8 catches, 143 yards, along a 61, that one touchdown. Cameron Dorner, 3 catches, 73 yards, one touchdown, along at 35. I mean, 7 touchdowns. I mean, that was just. Oh, and Trey Fields recovered a fumble. Defensively, Evan Jackson had 9 tackles. Quentin Hammonds had 7. He even had a tackle for loss. They had 2 sacks on Jalen Kitna. Why they went back to Jalen Kitna is beyond me at UAB. Uh, but they had 7 tackles for losses, 4 passes deflected. Will Jones had 2 interceptions. David Fisher had an interception. They were just dismantling UAB, unlike Memphis. Simon Evans had 2 kick returns, had along a 52. Kay- Kaylee Naguma? Okay, hopefully I'm not butchering that man's name wrong. Had a field goal. This team was just doing amazing. They didn't have to punt. Um, Seriously, you're looking at this team and you're going, it's no wonder that they are currently sitting there at 9-1. The only team that beat them is South Florida. And you're looking at they still have Rice and Temple. I don't think they're going to have a problem considering how they beat Navy, how they beat Army. I don't see them having a problem with Rice. Temple might be a little bit of a problem, might be a little bit of a problem, but that's about it. Um, you're looking at this Mestamaker, Eric Morse. People are already talking about. There are job offers that are being that Eric Morse is getting right now, which I hope he doesn't take. I want him to stay at the Mean Green. I'm not a major fan of North Texas. Have barely followed them. If it wasn't for Sailor Hawkins, I wouldn't even have paid any that much attention to North Texas before this year. Um, she was a diver on their swimming and diving team. Amazing diver. But the Mean Green this year under Eric Morse, they've got some swagger to them. And I mean, you're talking about they beat Lamar, Western Michigan, Washington State, they South Alabama. They haven't had that big of a problem. Nobody was thinking that they were going to be much of anything. I'll admit I didn't think they were going to be much of anything. I thought they were going to have a decent season, but Eric Morrison, Drew Mestamaker, and Caleb Hawkins. Caleb Hawkins is a freshman, but they're talking about all those teams with football openings. Eric Morris is probably going to be gotten, and they're going to be trying to get him to bring along his some several of his offensive team and some of his defensive team. North Texas is for real. Now, I'm going to admit something. I have been looking at this Tulane team going, they're not really much of anything. Yeah, they did what they did in Northwestern, but it's Northwestern. Then they beat Duke, but it was close and at home. So, it's a home thing, and Duke is what Duke is. And of course, they lost to Ole Miss, and then that loss to UTSA. And I've been looking at, they've been winning, but they've been winning by very little. But they're still considered just a step behind Navy. Navy has got right now. It looks like Navy and Tulane are going to be the top two. I think North Texas would probably be a better one to consider. I don't understand why, considering they're 9-1, that they're third in the conference on getting a chance at the conference title. And I mean, Tulane still got Temple and Charlotte, so they have an easy path, just like North Texas. I honestly think that North Texas has the best schedule for getting to the conference championship, but considering that they don't, other than South Florida, and they lost to them, they didn't really have a lot of the powerhouses, but they also beat Navy. But Jake Jake Retzlaff was 18 of 27, threw for 241 yards, threw two touchdowns, but threw an interception. Jamari McClure, 10 carries, 94 yards, one touchdown, long of 26. This team's not that flashy. Jimmy Callaway, one carry, 14 yards, touchdown. Jake Retzlaff rushed 7 times, only had a yard. Had a TD, though, had a long of 3. Receiving wise, Bryce Bohannon, 3 catches, 56 yards, long of 29, had a touchdown. Anthony Miller, one catch, 14 yards, touchdown. So 3 on the ground, 2 in the air. This offense does what it needs to do, but this defense. Now, they had 1 sack. That's it on Caden Beltcamp. They had 6 tackles for losses, not too bad. They had 5 passes deflected. They had a lot more guys on there. I mean, but this, they did have 3 interceptions. That was the one thing right there that kept them in this game. Jaheim Johnson had an interception, returned at 10 yards. Bailey Despani, touchdown. I mean, not a touchdown, but interception. Isaiah Wadsworth, interception. So 3 interceptions. That's what kept them in this game. Not to mention, Sean Nicholas recovered a touchdown. They did lose another one, but that wasn't that big of a deal. Um, they fumbled it, but they didn't actually lose it. TJ Smith had a 30-yard kick returns. Borey Mobley had a 12-yard. Patrick Durkin didn't have to do a field goal, but he did have 5 extra points attempt. You're looking at this, and they've been doing just enough to win the games, but they've still got 2 losses on the record. And that UTSA loss, I mean, that was their defense wasn't showing up. This John Summerall has got a great thing going on down at Tulane. He just hasn't built a defense this year that's worth anything. But if they can beat Temple and Charlotte, nothing untowards happens. They're probably into the conference championship game. That's going to be weird because you look at them and they're just, it's hit or miss. But then they go to Memphis and beat Memphis at Memphis, which is not an easy task. This is a team that is hard to understand, but man, oh man, Tulane has been doing the work. And hey, they've only got the UTSA loss. So, yeah, because of that, they're technically second in the running to get in the conference championship. Now, East Carolina, throw your hands up. Peyton Hauser has been amazing for this team this year. Blake Harrell has got this team going good. Peyton Hauser was 23 of 34, threw 1 touchdown, perfect one to throw. It was 68 seconds left on the game, and finally went back over Memphis. London Montgomery had 27 carries, 103 yards, 2 touchdowns, only had a 23-yard long run. Caden Hauser, 6 carries, -1 yards, 1 TD, 6 yards was his long. Receiving wise, Peyton Mangrum only caught 2 balls, 1 touchdown, 31-yard long run, but it was that 68 seconds before the end of the game that won them this game. I mean, seriously, Memphis scored 17 in the second quarter. They were trying to win this game. Now, Caden Hauser did fumble once and lost it. Brock Spalding fumbled once but didn't lose it. They had 2 sacks on Lewis. They had 7 tackles for losses, 1 pass deflected. This defense was Mike Wright, though, did get an interception. Peyton Mangrum got a punt return, but -1 yards. Nick Mazie kicked a field goal. in there and got it. This team has been up and down. They should have been able to beat NC State, but they weren't able to. The BYU, I think they could have done better. Tulane was one of those close ones. Tulane was been playing way too close. I think with Memphis, it was just Memphis has got the big head way too fast. I think there's also those players that are listening to the talk that Ryan Silverfield may be out the door to go to a better job. And I think that's what's been affecting them. But for them to, even though it was close, and they've not had a good luck of it when it comes to close games this year. That loss to NC State is an example of that. The loss to Tulane, another example of that. When they're clearly in the lead, they win. But when they get close, in other than the BYU game, with Tulane and NC State, they weren't able to finish it. But Blake Harrell's been working on this team, and hey, they finally got a close one. Man, did they get a close one. And it was at home in front of their fans, and it kept them in the rush for the conference championship game. Yeah, they're one of four, and they're the fourth team on the standings, but they've got UTSA and FAU in their way. UTSA, I they've got to go to the Alamo Dome. That's not going to be an easy game in any way, shape, or form. UTSA is 5-5. They're looking to get a bowl game. They got East Carolina and Army, and let me tell you something. Both those are at home, so UTSA is primed to be an upset team. East Carolina, though, throw your hands up. They've been fighting all year. This is something that I can't wait to see what they're able to do. FAU, I don't think they're going to have a problem with, but it's that UTSA game. UTSA, like I said, is fighting for a chance to go to a bowl game. The Roadrunners are no joke. Even though they're 5-5, they're still no joke. They know how to score. This is a team that this could be the way East Carolina loses it. But I'll let you decide. I mean, having UTSA on their schedule is not a good thing. But then again, though, Navy's got Memphis on their schedule. That's not a good thing. I am looking over all of this. Navy has perhaps the toughest path. They've got to go to Memphis and play Memphis. But East Carolina is not that far behind because they've got to go to the Alamo Dome and face UTSA. They're also going to FAU, but that one I'm less concerned about. It's that UTSA team. UTSA knows how to score. Even when they were facing some really good teams, they were scoring. This is a East Carolina team that just this is their first close win. Normally they lose the close ones. Well, UTSA is going to be able to keep it really close. Their defense is their entire team is looking for that bowl bid. Seriously, they are. They're so close they can taste it. And honestly, East Carolina is looking to be prime meat for them. Navy going to Memphis. Memphis can't be happy. They've got to know that they want Ryan Silverfield and that team is wanting to spoil somebody. They're happy about that South Florida win. But they've lost to UAB, they lost to East Carolina, they lost to Tulane. They are completely out of the running. So now they're going to be looking to see what they can do to spoil somebody else. North Texas and Tulane have a really easy path. I mean that's the sad part about this for them, for everybody else. Tulane having Temple and Charlotte. Temple's not going to be an easy game for either North Texas or for Tulane, but it's still a winnable game for both. Charlotte, I mean, seriously, Charlotte, they haven't even won a game in conference. And you're looking at this like, yeah, that's not even a uh, consideration at this point. I hate to say that, but it's really not a consideration at this point. And then you've got North Texas. North Texas having Rice, come on. Rice hasn't really been that much of a they switched to a triple option and nobody knows how to run it. Seriously. And Temple, hmm, Temple's coming to North Texas. I'm pretty certain that this is going to be one of those games you don't want to be a Temple fan in North Texas for that game. But Casey Keeler knows how to win games, and Casey Keeler has also got this team 5-5, and they've got to face Tulane and North Texas. One of those two teams, Casey Keeler's probably considering whether he's going to win it. Casey Keeler is no joke as a head coach. And I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at this and going, Temple could be a spoiler for either one of those two teams. And or they could just throw everybody into a tizzy. But you tell me what you think. These are the four teams that are in the running for the conference championship. Navy's only got the one game, but it's Memphis, at Memphis. North Texas, two easy games for them. Or maybe not. Tulane, looks like they have two easy games, or not. And East Carolina, East Carolina is just going to be slamming up against walls because they've got UTSA, and UTSA has all the strengths where all of East Carolina's weaknesses are. So that one's going to be interesting. Honestly, I can't wait to see who gets in that conference championship. This has been Paul with Redneck Sports. Y'all have a good day now. Bye.
I want to thank you for watching my video. And if you like what you saw, like, subscribe, and comment. Y'all have a good day now.